Para a apresentação das equipes. Vamos à apresentação dos atletas da equipe da Austrália. 1, Jackson. 3, Brown. 4, Logan. 5, Evander. 6, Cooper. 7, Kenny. 8, Mitchell. 9, Dondi. 11, Zafri. 12, Jordan. 13, Alexander. 14, Rick. E o treinador é Rich. Vamos para a apresentação da equipe de Israel. 4, Cal. 6, Nathan. 7, Ron. 8, Mother. 10, Nathan. 11, Mira. 21, Isla. 30, Han. 33, Leo. E o técnico é Leandro. Vamos agora para a apresentação da equipe de arbitragem. Hamish, Thomas, Wang e comissário Nathan. Neste momento, pedimos que todos e todas presentes se coloquem em posição de respeito para a execução do hino nacional da Austrália. Todos e todas em posição de respeito para o hino nacional de Israel.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Paralímpico Sports Hall here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It is the 8th annual Under-23 IWBF World Championships. You're locked in to court number 1 on the final day of group action. It's a Group A encounter between Israel and Australia. For Israel, 0-4 right now. They'll be playing for classification rounds coming up later on in the week. They are eliminated from quarter-final contention. For Australia, a win would keep them in 3rd place. Brazil play Turkey later on, and if Brazil get the victory in that one, then they could lock up 3rd spot. All to play for the top 3. Australia, though, through to the quarterfinals, but where they will land going into tomorrow's quarterfinals, we will wait and see. They need a big win here today. They're currently on a minus 27 points differential, whereas Brazil are plus 37. So hello everyone to the people watching on the IWBF YouTube feed. Early evening over in Israel, and it's the early morning in Australia. It's nearly 3 a.m. in Australia. But hello to you all watching here on the IWBF YouTube channel. Starting 5s for the 2 teams, starting with Israel, Tal Dagan, Hamza Kasim, Natan Boshna, Eli Yari, and Ran Barbie. For Australia, Jalen Brown, Kane Downey, Mitchell Bond, Alexander Blackmore, and Reese Higgins. So a slightly different starting 5 for Australia. There are 3 officials assigned this contest from Czechia, Egypt, and China. Tomasz Paya of Czechia, Aya Ahmed of Egypt, and Fei Qin Wang of China. So Jalen Brown and Natan Boshna will get us started here on the final day of group play, and the penultimate game on court 1 in the group phase is underway, and Australia get the first possession of the contest. Mitchell Bond, Jalen Brown at the foul line, that's flat, and Hamza Kasim with the rebound. Duggan with Barbie in support. There is Barbie, misses the 2. Brown with the rebound. And Bond is fouled by Hamza Kasim. That's his first foul, first team foul of the day for Israel. We've seen wins for Italy and a stunning first victory in their final group game for South Africa here today, as the final games of the pool phase are seen out here, as Hamza Kasim trying to get it over the timeline, and just about does. Ram Barbie just about stayed in, but it's deflected. Here come the Aussie spinners. Blackmore, beautiful control, and the finish. Beautiful ball security there from Alexander Blackmore, native of Strathobrin in southern Australia, which is located just south of Adelaide. And again, this will be an 8-second violation, as Hamza Kasim didn't even bother to get the ball over the timeline. under great pressure from the Aussie Spinners defenders. Here is Blackmore. Bond. Brown was looking for the pass, but it was deflected by Hamza Kasim. Here is Hamza Kasim on the ball. Yari here. Tal Dagan. Hounded by Blackmore. Alexander Blackmore, a tenacious defender. Tal Dagan putting the moves on Bond. 4 to shoot for Israel. And Hamza Kasim can't get that pass, and Australia will get the ball. Early doors here in our second game here on court number 1. And already Israel with their 3rd turnover. Brown, and a whistle has gone. An offensive foul has been called. And the foul called on Reese Higgins, who played well in the knockout phases of the Asia-Oceania Championship last year. Competition that Australia won. Didn't really contribute to anything in the group phase and really made his mark in the knockout phase. Melbourne native. Here is Tal Dagan. Yari. 5 to shoot. Hamza Kasim. Got to put it up. And that hits the backboard and then grazes the rim. Jaylen Brown and Tal Dagan collide. And Israel will get the ball. Great fan support here from Israel, and likewise from Australia. There's a lot of fans from Australia clad in the famous gold and green. Boschner. Yari. Here is Tal Dagan. Thinks about the 3, goes for the 3, and that's off the mark, and away comes Jaylen Brown. Here is Blackmore to the races. Alexander Blackmore really getting it done at both ends of the floor right now, both offensively and defensively. He has all 4 of Australia's points right now as the Spinners off to a good start. Hamza Kasim. 9 to shoot for Israel. Hamza Kasim over Blackmore. Good defense again by Blackmore. That was what I was talking about, that tenacious defensive presence he brings. And Brown to the cup. And that won't count. It'll be an offensive foul called. We have a look at the replay. Jaylen Brown accelerating to the basket. Foul is on Kane Downey away from the ball. That'll be his first foul. Dagan, and another whistle has gone just before Natan Boschner got the ball, and Israel will retain possession. Nearly 4 minutes played in the first period here on the final day of group action. And lots for Australia to play for in this one. For Israel, they'll be going into the classification games to determine 9th and 12th position. And Australia will need to win big here and hope that Turkey beat Brazil in order to claim 3rd place. Here is Boschner, 7 to shoot. Boschner from the sides, doesn't get it to fall. Here is Jaylen Brown, who's been electric in these World Championships. One of the most exciting players on the court. Here he goes, takes it to the cup and a foul. Jaylen Brown exploding to the dome, and he'll go to the line for a bonus. Great to have the people on board the IWBF YouTube channel for the final day of action in the group phase of the Under-23 World Championships. Former Paralympian Johnny Pollock in the house, as well as some Australia fans, which is great to see. Getting to the halfway point of the first period, Boschner to Hamza Kasim. Hamza Kasim with 4 to shoot. Tal Degan puts it up, knocks it down. That's a long 2 for Tal Degan. Started playing this game at the Paris Sports Center in Ramat Gan of his hometown in Tel Aviv. As Downey at the other end doesn't get the fall, the ball is loose. It's collected by Israel. Hamza Kasim, and that was a poor pass, and it goes straight to Blackmore. Brown. Downey can't hang on. And substitutions for Australia. We're going to see, chances are we're going to see a frequent substitutions all game long for the Aussie spinners as Jordan Moritz comes in, as does Evander Conroy. And Zach Binns, the other player, into the game. Binns and Conroy debutants to the Aussie spinners as Boschner attacks Brown. Degan, 5 to shoot for Israel. Great defense from Conroy. Ram Barbie, a hook shot 3. We've seen him do that before in this tournament and connect. Brown. Binns composes himself and gets the friendly roll. And Australia out to an 8-2 lead, 4:21 remaining in the first quarter. Timeout called by Yanir Osh of Israel. There you see the Australian players. There are the Aussie fans. They've been enjoying themselves here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's been a fantastic tournament thus far, and for the last couple of days, the weather has really improved as well. It's currently winter here in South America, but it is scorching hot outside, and the action going to get even hotter as this tournament progresses to the knockout phase. And as you see, Yanir Osh there just chatting to his Israel players, and behind you there is Lior Yevnitsky, the veteran of this Israel team. No doubt we'll be seeing him momentarily in this contest. Degan. Eli Yari to Hamza Kasim. Here is Boschner. 4:09 remaining in the first. Hamza Kasim in all kinds of space. Doesn't get the drop there with the 2 off the window. Israel right now shooting 1 of 8 from the floor. And Jaylen Brown to the basket. Jaylen Brown untouched with his second field goal. You see it here. Just right down Main Street. And it's 2-10 in favor of Australia. And Brown nearly got the steal there on Ran Barbie. Here is Yari. Hamza Kasim in and out. Boschner was under the hoop. Could have looked for Boschner there. He would have got an easy score. Here is Jaylen Brown. It's 1 on 3. Brown to the dome. What a pass. And Moritz overran it. Jordan Moritz, Perth native. A really solid all-round player that mainly comes off the bench for the Aussie spinners. We had a really impressive Asia Oceania Championships off the bench. Had a tournament high of 9 points, 7 boards, 5 assists against Saudi Arabia. As the score there from Natan Boschner. Bins. Moritz can't hang on to the ball, and another turnover from the spinners. That's already Australia's 7th turnover in this contest. 11 turnovers in total in this first period. Here is Natan Boschner. Boschner looking to attack Conroy. Gets past Conroy. Brown comes to meet him. Good defense from the veteran Jalen Brown. Using his length to get his hands in. Blackmore, and a whistle has gone before Brown was freed. And the foul called on Ran Barbie. That's his first foul. Both teams with one more foul to give. Brown, 2:21 remaining in the first. The spinners up by 6. Moritz, good defense there from Boschner. 5 to shoot. Brown has it. NBA style 3, and that's off the mark. And Israel with a really good defensive stop. Natan Boschner, and the pass is loose. It'll go out of bounds. Not sure if that was deflected, and the referees are just going to double check. 3 officials from Czechia, China and Egypt assigned this contest, and our referee from Czechia, Tomáš Paja, gives it to Israel, and here is Dagan. Hamza Kasim to the baseline. And Moritz collects, and a whistle has gone. And the foul is on Tal Dagan. That's his second foul. And even though the foul was judged on Tal Dagan, Australia have apparently got 4 team fouls. They've actually got 3 team fouls. Israel have 4. There we go. Now it's changed. Here is Brown. Brown has the ball. Hamza Kasim for company. 1:39 remaining in the first. Moritz, the lefty, buries a 2. That's actually a 3-pointer for Jordan Moritz. First triple of the game. Jordan Moritz just finished his 2nd season with his hometown club, the Perth Wheelcats. And Israel wants a break in play while one of their players has their wheel adjusted. I think that will be Eli Yari. Yari heads to the bench, and Ilor Yevnitsky comes in, as well as Matan Baron. Matan Baron, the youngest player on this Israel team, the number 6, just 15 years of age. As you see there, Hamza Kasim also coming out. And Lior Yevnitsky, one of the main offensive threats off the bench for Israel, the number 33, 20-year-old. You see there, Yari just getting his wheelchair sorted. I think he's getting another wheel put on as we get back to the action. Here is Yevnitsky. Boschner. 1:25 remaining in the first. Barbie. Tal Dagan was in acres of space, and Ball deflected out of bounds, and it'll stay with the Israelis as Tal Dagan was cutting to the basket. And here is Dagan. Yevnitsky putting the moves on Conroy. 9 to shoot. Loves to shoot it from there, does Yevnitsky. Barbie. Dagan in space. Deflected by Brown. Picked up by Conroy. Here is Brown. And room service for Jaylen Brown. Tal Dagan. As we enter the final 45 seconds here in the first period, here is Binns. Moritz. Binns fading away, short, rebounded by Brown, and a whistle has gone. Jaylen Brown already with 7 rebounds to go with his 4 points thus far in this contest. Jaylen Brown averaging 24 points, 15 rebounds so far in these under-23 World Championships. Had that huge game against the hosts, Brazil. 32 points, 23 rebounds on game day number 3. That was the second game Australia had played. But had a tough start against Germany, did Jaylen Brown. 7 points, 12 boards. And there he is with the steal. Brown on it. And Moritz goes inside and a foul. Patient play from Jordan Moritz, and he will head to the stripe. Of course, going on court number 2 in a bit will be the host nation Brazil taking on Turkey. Of course, a game of big importance for this group in Group A. A win for Brazil over Turkey will effectively seal 3rd spot for the host nation. Unless Australia win huge here in this one. Australia need to win to have a chance of finishing in 3rd spot. Yevnitsky, the layup no good, and the ball goes out of bounds. It will stay with Israel. Yevnitsky with 6.4 on the clock to end the first. Here is Boschner. Boschner fading away, puts it up, doesn't get anything on it. And that'll do it for the end of the first period. Australia out to a 19-4 advantage over Israel. After the first 10 minutes, Australia shooting 57% from the floor. And Jaylen Brown also on a double-double watch. He has 7 points, 7 rebounds, chucking 4 assists for good measure. Alexander Blackmore with 4 on a perfect 2 of 2. Has a steal to his name as well. And Jordan Moritz with 6 points off the bench for the Spinners. And 14 of Australia's 19 points have come inside, as Israel are led by the duo of Natan Boschner and Tal Dagan. They each have 2. But Israel just 2 of 12 from the field after 1 period of play. Australia's place in the quarterfinals is secured. It's just a matter of where they will end up here in Group A. Also, Israel are eliminated from quarterfinal contention. They will go for the classification games later on in the week. Big hello to everyone watching on the IWBF YouTube channel. Final day of pool action here in the Paralímpico Sports Hall, the wonderful facility here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Second time that Brazil are hosting this wonderful tournament. And the Paralímpico Sports Hall, part of the Rio 2016 Paralympic Legacy Project. Home to many great Paralympic sports, including wheelchair basketball. Of course, there are two show courts here that are being utilized. There's a training court as well. Wheelchair rugby, wheelchair or para-tennis, boccia, blind football also played here as Boschner from the baseline. That's long and collected by Reese Higgins, and away come Australia as Mitchell Bond slows it down. Cooper Spillane into the game and on the ball for the Spinners, putting the moves on Yari. 9 to shoot, and the shot is no good from Bond, and it's collected by Eli Yari. A bounce pass there to Barbie, and Israel get it over the halfway point. Boschner looking to dance, gets to the basket and unlucky not to get the shot to fall. And Cooper Spillane, the Adelaide native, gets the rebound. A minute played in the second. Here is Bond, lobs it wide, and Jackson Gray couldn't hang on, but the ball will stay with the Spinners as Jaylen Brown starting the second period on the bench. And you've got to believe, you've got to wonder how many minutes Brown and Ethan Laird will get here today. Ethan Laird still hasn't got a minute so far as the Spinners get a 2 from the baseline. Yari, Tal DeGun. DeGun gets it back from Boschner. And shot no good there from DeGun, but it's reclaimed by Boschner. Boschner, no hesitation, goes to the glass. Jackson Gray says thank you very much. And now Gray, full head of speed, going up against DeGun. Higgins with the screen. He uses Bond instead. 9 to shoot for Mitchell Bond. Evander Conroy in acres of room. Bond will go for the shot. He'll string the 2. DeGun, Yari. DeGun gets it back. Israel pinging the ball around nicely here. DeGun at the foul line, composes himself and can't get the drop. Bond. Bond inside, Higgins the finish. 25-4 in favor of the Spinners, as Australia starting out on a 6-0 run in this second quarter. DeGun. Boschner calling for it and gets it. Boschner, great pass inside. Yari will kick it out. DeGun a 2 in and out. Israel getting good looks, just that end product lacking. 2 of 18 from the field for them, and a turnover for the Spinners. In fact, it will not be a turnover. It will be an Australia ball. Ball was deflected out of bounds by an Israel player. .6:33 remaining in the second quarter. Here is Bond. Spillane is open at the foul line, chooses Higgins instead, and Higgins rattles it in off the window. Dagan. Hamza Kasim. Hamza Kasim over Conroy, gets the friendly roll. And the first score of the second period, 4 minutes in for Israel. Cooper Spillane thought about the three, saw his name in lights there for a second. Bond. Spillane is open still. There he is on the ball now. Sets himself, puts it up, and smacks the bottom of the backboard and into the waiting hands of Rand Barbie. Yari. Tal Dagan is open, puts it up, and can't get it to fall. And Tal Dagan now 1 of 8 from the field in this one, but not afraid to shoot. And that's a good trait to have as a shooter. There's the finish lacking from Jackson Gray. Yari. Boschner under the basket. Hamza Kasim on the trailer. And the whistle has gone. That was a hard foul there from Hamza Kasim. And Hamza Kasim with his second foul. There's substitution coming in. Ilor Yevnitsky checking it back in. Ran Barbie heads to the bench. (27-8) in favor of Australia. Here is Cooper Spillane. Cooper Spillane sets himself and nearly splashes a three, but it's short. And rebounded by Yari. Yari looking to put the moves on Gray. Boschner, 9 to shoot. Yevnitsky goes past Conroy. And Yevnitsky the finish off the glass. And straight down Main Street was the number 9 Mitchell Bond. And the whistle has gone. The foul is on Tal Dagan. That's foul number 3 for Dagan. It's a hard foul as well from Dagan. Almost got, well, in fact, it did get Mitchell Bond out of his wheelchair. As Mitchell Bond will head to the line. Was part of the spinners team that played at the last World Championships in Thailand. Had a little bit more of a role though in the Asia-Oceania Championship last year, starting in 5 of their 7 games, averaged around 7 points a game along with 4 rebounds. Australia's Young Player of the Year. But he'll have to wait his turn to go to the foul line as a timeout is called on the floor with 4:04 remaining in the half. Great to have you all on board on the IWBF YouTube channel. Welcome if you're staying up late and seeing the sunrise in Australia. Or it's early evening or getting into the nighttime now in Israel. Or wherever you are across the world. Great to have you all on board. Don't forget to follow the IWBF on all social media channels. Loads of great behind-the-scenes content on the stories. And also as well, give a follow to our local organising committee, the CBBC Brazil social media pages. Some incredible content, not just in Portuguese, but also some in English as well. As they were handing out CBBC pins, Brazil pins to all of us today. Yours truly did collect a pin as well, as is natural. Mitchell Bond at the line. As I said before the timeout, the Young Player of the Year in the National League in Australia last season was mentored by the great Richard Coleman, a player or a coach known for developing future stars of the sport. But draws a blank on the second. Away come Israel. Yari. Putting the moves on Conroy. Spillane comes to meet him. Yari still has it, chucks it up and puts it in. That was a high degree of difficulty for Eli Yari, but he got it to go. Spillane thought about the three, instead goes at Yevnitsky. Bond putting Boschner in a spin cycle. Over Tal Degun off the back iron, and Yevnitsky says thank you very much. Hamza Kasim, and Boschner just about keeps it in, and it's reclaimed by Spillane. And now Jackson Gray just about keeps it in. There's Reese Higgins, Mitchell Bond for company. There is Bond with the offensive board and the score. Australia with only their third offensive rebound in this contest. Yevnitsky in rhythm, but didn't think to shoot that. Yari will. And Yari strings one. 2:28 remaining in the half. Spillane. Bond. Swept wide and welcomed in by Spillane, a two. And Yevnitsky rebounds. Hamza Kasim. Yari was driving to the basket, cut off by Gray. Boschner. Hamza Kasim sets himself. And Gray with the rebound. Away comes Bond. Great pressure defense there from Yari. Bond just about gets past him. Here is Higgins to the cup, and an offensive foul is called. As Evander Conroy comes out, as does Mitchell Bond. And Kane Downey comes in. And also into the game, Mitchell Duncan for the first time. Also good to see Kane Downing's parents watching on back in Australia, as Yevnitsky grazes the rim with the two. Good to have Kane Downey's parents staying up late. Who needs sleep anyway? Spillane, here it is Downey. Spillane gets it back. There is Downey, the duo working perfectly, but the finish lacking from Downey. Yevnitsky, 1:09 remaining in the half, and Australia will get the ball back. As Thomas Tuchfeldt into the game and wrestling it from Jackson Gray. Jackson Gray a bit frustratingly throwing the ball to our Egyptian official, Ayer Ahmed. And a whistle is gone, and there's a shot clock malfunction. There we go, it's quickly fixed. Cooper Spillane. sets himself, again thought about the long bomb. Inside is Downey, and a whistle has gone under the hoop. And the foul called on Ishai Tuchfeld. As Coach Stibner is having a chat to our Czech official Tomáš Paja. As Kane Downing will collect. 56.5 remaining in the half. Spillane, Downey in rhythm and in room. Thinks about it, instead gives it up. And the finish again off from Spillane, who gets it to go at the second attempt. First field goal for Cooper Spillane, another Perth Wheelcat player. Boschner, Yevnitsky. Yevnitsky, whistle is gone. Yevnitsky does a lot of his work on that side of the floor. And Israel will get the ball back with 21.7 on the clock in the half. And Israel have been very competitive. It's actually been quite a competitive first half of play. 31-14 in favour of the Australians. Yali at the elbow. That's long. And the shot clock is off. And Australia will look to get the final shot or look to get an easy score. Here's Spillane. He backtracks. Now he sets himself, puts it up, and it's off as Matan Baron gets the rebound, and they'll do it for the half. And Israel keeping it competitive, Australia in the lead, but it's been by no means comfortable for the Spinners. Australia leading it 31-14. Jaylen Brown, all 7 points and 7 boards in the first period. He saw no time in the second. Jordan Moritz has 6 for the Spinners. For Israel, they are led by the duo of Eli Yari and Hamza Kasim, who have 4 points. As we leave you with the highlights for the first half, it's been a competitive one. It's been physical, but Australia have the advantage. 31-14. We'll be back in roughly 12 minutes' time. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Paralympico Sports Hall here in lovely, picturesque Sao Paulo, Brazil, as Australia lead Israel in our game here on court number 1, 31-14. Remember, Australia currently sitting joint third with the host nation, Brazil. And Israel currently 0-4 and fighting for the classification rounds when the group phase ends. Hello everyone, welcome to the IWBF YouTube channel. John Hobbs keeping you company here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Great to have you all on board, whether you're staying up in the early hours in Australia, and that includes Perth now as well, or you're staying up in Israel or anywhere else over the world, whether it's the daytime, the afternoon, the evening. It's great to have you all on board as we get set to start the third period here of action. Israel being led by the duo of Hamza Kasim and Eli Yari. They both have 4 points. Israel shooting 25% for the floor in the first half. Jaylen Brown with a double, or near double-double, excuse me, of 7 points and 7 rebounds. All of those coming in the first quarter. And he will start the third quarter for the Spinners. Eli Yari, Tal Dagan, Hamza Kasim, Ran Barbie, and Natan Boschner starting for Israel. Higgins, Brown, Moritz, Conroy, and Spillane for the Spinners. And the 2 is good. First possession, first score of the third for Eli Yari. And now Jaylen Brown full ahead of speed and meets Yari, offensive foul. Jaylen Brown with a full head of speed, gliding to the basket, but right into Eli Yari, who showed no fear. Putting his body on the line there for Israel. Tal Dagan. Dagan looking for help, finds it in Yari, and the ball will go out of bounds, and Australia will pick it up. 11 turnovers in this game for Israel. Australia have scored 15 points off those turnovers in this contest. That's a huge significance in the scoreline. Spillane, Brown inside, and Brown gets it to go. Beautiful off-ball movement there from Jaylen Brown, gliding himself to the basket. And an easy finish for Brown as Yari misses the 2. And here come Australia again with Brown. One of 2 Australian players with senior experience. Jaylen Brown and Ethan Laird competing in the Paris 2024 Paralympics. And here is Brown again. Spillane thinks about it, puts it up, and it rattles in. Cooper Spillane with his second field goal. Dagan, nearly stolen by Brown. Here is Yari. Hamza Kasim over Moritz. And Hamza Kasim under the basket. That's his third field goal. He now leads Israel with 6. Spillane. 2 minutes played here in the third period. Spillane and Moritz combining. Here is Brown. Nearly loses the ball. 5 to shoot for Australia. And it's long from Cooper Spillane, and it's reclaimed by Barbie. Natan Boschner now. Dagan. And the pass, I think that was intended for Hamza Kasim, who wasn't retrieving it, and it nearly fell to Eli Yari, but he couldn't reach it. Brown. And a foul called on Hamza Kasim. That'll be his third foul of this one. Ball's coming up in around about 45 minutes time. Hosts Brazil taking on Turkey over on court 2 as Higgins has the ball and the whistle has gone. And a foul called. It's a third foul on Ran Balbi. As Reese Higgins goes to the stripe, the Melbourne native. So as said, on court 2, the hosts Brazil taking on Turkey in around 45 minutes time. And the group phase will conclude here with Canada taking on Germany. Germany safely topping Group A. And here is Tal Dagan. Brown for company, and Israel just about get it over the timeline. Yari did well to get that past Brown, and it was a good pass intended for Hamza Kasim, but Hamza Kasim couldn't collect it. He went past the ball as 15-year-old Matan Baron will check into the game. And Tal Dagan will head to the bench. Tal Dagan, who has been a regular starter for this Israel team, started 4 of their 8 games at the European Championship last year. As the finish there from Spillane. 3 minutes and a bit of change played here in the third period in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Second time Brazil are hosting this magnificent event, the Under-23 World Championships, as Natan Boschner buries a 3-throw line shot. Jalen Brown. Brown, bullet pass to Higgins. That was pretty from Jalen Brown. And for Reese Higgins, he still had a lot to do. He caught that sublimely and finished with aplomb. Boschner. Hamza Kasim. And that's no good. Spillane with the rebound. Brown. Brown again gliding to the cup, but goes out. Gives it to Moritz. Moritz to Spillane over Baron. Good defense, but on the follow was Reese Higgins. And a timeout called by Israel with 5:41 remaining here in the third period. And Australia now starting to flex their muscles and bridge out now to a 21-point advantage here over Israel. Biggest lead of the game for Australia has been 23 points. And they've had their lead trimmed down in the early stages of the third, but now starting to pull away. And a good timeout called by Yanir Oj of Israel. As you see, the Israelis there currently 0-4. They won't progress to the quarterfinals, but have performed admirably. Of course, a nation with a lot on its mind, but these young men really performing well for their country, really performing well here in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and have made a lot of friends here in this wonderful continent of South America. And they will play for the classification rounds starting tomorrow. And for Australia, of course, they will be in the quarterfinals. Who they will play, though, remains to be seen until the end of the day. Natan Boschner. Barbie with the mid-range. And Bond collects. 4 rebounds now for Mitchell Bond to go with 6 points. He still has the ball. Behind the back pass, and now it's getting fancy from the Aussies. Finish inside by Zach Binns. That's his second field goal. The debutant in his first international tournament. Barbie, Boschner. Boschner gets past Moritz, but misses the 2 Kane Downing rebounds. Australia out-rebounding Israel 22-17. Here is Binns colliding with 3 Israel players. It's take your pick to who fouled him there. Our Chinese official, Feng-Quing Wang, having a chat with Tomasz Pajer of Czechia. And Australia will keep the ball. Mitchell Bond. Bond puts up a 2, and that's short. And Yari picks it up. And another whistle has gone, and a very hard fall to the ground as Evander Conroy gets himself up. Tougher than a $2 steak. Will continue on. (43-20) in favor of the Aussie Spinners right now. Here is Binns. Binns will set himself, put it up, and knock it down. How about Zach Binns in this third period? Getting it done, getting some good stops and some scores. Yevnitsky. Boschner. Boschner has a bit of daylight inside, will go to the window, can't get it to fall. Kane Downing with the rebound. Here come the Spinners again. Binns, and Binns is fouled. And the first foul of the day on Yari. Right now, only Hamza Kasim in any real foul trouble for Israel. He has 4 fouls. Tal Dagon is on 3, but he's on the bench. Right now, just Noam Ben Hamel is the only Israel player not to see any court time right now. Yevnitsky on the ball, 3:45 remaining. Australia up 46-20. Here is Yevnitsky. Yari sweeps it wide. It's welcomed by Boschner. Here is Yevnitsky. Yari in space, and Yari in rhythm. Here is Binns at 5 feet, feeds away, doesn't get it to fall. Kane Downing muscling his way inside. Will that count? No, it won't. All that hard work from Kane Downing, and the foul happened before the shot. Israel are in the penalty, so Kane Downey will get freebies at the line. Kane Downey, as his parents are watching on back in Australia, we have been notified he is a huge sneakerhead and has a lot of Jordans, over 100 pairs, we are told, a big hobby of his, as well as a really talented basketball player representing his country here in Sao Paulo. But he misses the second. Boschner collects the rebound. 3:04 remaining in the third. Here is Yari. Goes to the elbow. Here is Boschner. Boschner over. Bins off the window and down. Got to give it up for Israel. They are fighting with everything they've got. Every possession counts for them. Every offense has been methodical. Downey under the basket, marked by Boschner. He'll get it to go and a foul. This time, Kane Downing will go to the line for a three-point play. And there'll be substitutions coming in for the Aussies. As I said at the top, there'll be frequent substitutions in this one as Evander Conroy checks out. And Mitchell Duncan comes in. Started his wheelchair basketball journey with the Suncoast Spinners. And now representing the Aussie Spinners here in Brazil. And Baron nearly went on a backcourt violation. Managed to keep it. Here is Yari. Yari a two. That's high off the glass. Israel's shooting percentage going up. They're now shooting around 33% from the floor. At one point in the third, it was at 28. Here is Binns gliding to the basket, and Binns puts it in. Right now, every time Israel get a couple of scores on the board, Australia just respond with one of their own. And we talk about Israel shooting 33% from the floor. Australia shooting 52. Not once has it gone over 49% in this contest for the Aussies. Boschner to Tuchfeld. Tuchfeld off the window. Binns. And Yari letting Binns know he was there. Here is Moritz. Moritz now to the cup, and he'll come out. It's a case of who wants it as Bond collects it. Binns was also fighting for it. And Binns here collects, and Binns now to the basket, and a foul. Zach Binns with 9 points, all in this third period. 4 of 7 from the field, and he's 1 of 2 from the charity stripe thus far. Yevnitsky. Boschner. Boschner, no hesitation, but misses the two. Moritz with the rebound. Final minute of the third period. And Australia in the ascendancy at the summit here in this contest. That's a beautiful pass from Binns. Moritz can't finish. Boschner rebounds. And Australia will get the ball, but it's taken back by Israel as Tuchfeld gives it up to Yari. And here is Baron. Yevnitsky now picks it up. Yevnitsky a three. That's short. He can shoot him from there. Can Igor Yevnitsky. We've seen it throughout these World Championships in the group phase. But right now, just 1 of 4, from the field. Bond. And the shot clock is off, and Australia, you can sense a little bit more methodical in their approach. Binns. And they will slow it until the final seconds. Binns with the 2, that's short. Ball is loose. And that'll do it for the end of the third period. And Australia lead this one 54-28, but it's not been all plain sailing for the Spinners. They have been made to work for this. Israel not going down without a fight. And it's 54-28 at the end of the third period. Israel putting 14 points on the board, 23-14 overall, but that 19-4 start from Australia has done the damage. And Australia, who have led from start to finish, biggest lead of the game has been 26. Lead it at the end of 3. Jaylen Brown, 9 points for him. Reece Higgins having his best game of the World Championships, his first start, and he's 4 of 5 from the field for 8 points. But leading the way for the Spinners, Zach Binns off the bench, 12 points for the newcomer. And getting those 12 minutes in just 10 minutes on the floor right now. Israel, whose field goal percentage, as said, has been raised up significantly in the last 4.5 minutes of the third period. They're now shooting around 34% from the field. They are led by Eli Yari, who has 10 points on 5 of 7 shooting and 5 rebounds chucked in for good measure. But like Australia, Israel have been frequent with their substitutions, getting as many players in as possible, getting them some good experience. Noam Ben-Hamel will get his first action of the contest here in this fourth quarter, the number 7. No time to dawdle here, as Australia want to get underway as quick as they can, but still got a few seconds, and we start the fourth period. There's our Egyptian referee, Aya Ahmed, just sharing a joke there with our cameraman. He's worked exceptionally hard as our cameraman on the court side, as well as our incredible production team here in Sao Paulo, as the local organising committee have done a superb job putting on a spectacular event thus far. And we've still got the knockout phase to go. Binns airballs a 3. And even he can afford a little smile on his face. Great to have some Israel fans joining in the comments section on the IWBF YouTube channel. Lots of great information from our fans, both from Australia and Israel. A lot of history being spoken about in the early stages of the game. And a bit more facts about the players. And shot was up from Matan Baron, and a whistle has gone. And the foul has been called, I believe, on Jackson Gray. Yes, it is on Jackson Gray. That's his first foul. In fact, excuse me, it was on Zach Binns. That was his first foul. As Barong misses the first. Part of the team that featured in the European Championships last summer in Madrid. Youngest player on this Israel team misses the second on the follow. And on the floor is Boschner. Nearly going to get underway over in court number 2 as the host nation Israel take on Turkey. As Matash Boschner misses the first. Natan Boschner, he's had a really good game for Israel in this contest. 6 points, admittedly 3 of 11 from the field, but he's been getting some good looks. He's really steered the ship for this Israel team. He has 7 boards as well. A foul there from Noam Ben-Hamel on Blackmore. Alexander Blackmore's mother here in attendance here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Here is Bond. Inside to Binns, off balance, and a foul has been called. And again, it's on Noam Benhamel. That's his second foul in quick succession. Not even a minute played here in the fourth period. He's a tenacious player, is Noam Benhamel. Noam, his first name, Noam, means peace and relaxation. But far from it when he's on the court. And the second one is good for Binns, who is having hit the game of the tournament for him so far. Especially with the limited minutes played for Jaylen Brown, and of course Ethan Laird not playing, as Reece Higgins comes back in for Blackmore, and Yevnitsky has it for Israel. Yevnitsky thinking about it. Boschner. Yevnitsky is open, and he puts it in. Ilor Yevnitsky, with only his second field goal, loves the mid-range. Can really shoot from anywhere as well, a really talented player. As Bonds to the cup, doesn't get the fall. Higgins can't get the follow, the ball is loose. Noam Benhamel is racing for it, and it's picked up by Mitchell Bond. Bond lobs it to Binns. Binns did well to collect, puts it up, knocks it down. That was a high degree of difficulty. He had to reach to get it. Zach Binns at full stretch and getting the shot off. Zach Binns leads all scorers with 15. Chuck in 2 rebounds for good measure for the young man. Here is Benhamel. Yevnitsky. Nearly 2 minutes played here in the final period. Benhamel has it back. Yevnitsky can't collect. The ball is loose, and it will stay with Israel with 7 on the shot clock. Yevnitsky, shot clock at 4. Yevnitsky a 3. And Binns collects the rebound. And here is Gray in transition. Good tracking back there from Boschner, but Gray had just enough in the tank to score. And a timeout called by Yanir Roj of Israel. Great to have you all on board the IWBF YouTube channel. Australia at the summit here with 7:52 remaining, 59-30 to the good over Australia. John Hobbs here on hand to bring you the action in the fourth quarter, and I'll be back later on for our final game of the pool stage as Canada take on Germany. And about to start in a bit. Over on court 2, hosts Brazil will take on Turkey. First time for Brazil over on court number 2. They've been almost exclusively playing on this very court, but not today. Local time on court number 2 with Brazil and Turkey due to get underway at 3:45. And Canada, Germany scheduled to tip off at 4:30. Those are all local times here in Sao Paulo. Dagan into the game for the first time since the early stages of the third period. Dagan has it back. Here is Hamza Kasim. Hamza Kasim over Binns, gets the friendly roll. And the pass from Bond goes straight out of bounds. I'm unsure as to who that was intended for. "17 turnovers for Australia in this game. It's the most they've had in this competition actually so far. 15 for Israel in this one. Hamza Kassim with the ball. Dagan over Conroy. Here is Bond. Binns sliding to the basket and gets the roll. How about Zach Binns in this contest right now? He's having an absolute game. 17 points in under 14 minutes on the floor. Hamza Kassim looking to respond. He can't get the friendly roll again. Here come Australia. They're out rebounding Israel 36-24 right now, and a foul is called. And the foul is on Noam Ben Hamel. That's his third foul. All three fouls coming in this final quarter. Bond to Gray. Shot clock at 10. Binns, why not? And he puts in another one. The blonde-haired assassin right now, Zach Binns. As Barbie looks to respond, can't get the fall. Kassim got the offensive board. Only Israel's fourth offensive rebound in this game as Bond explodes to the dome. Dagan. Dagan inside to Boschner. Ben Hamel was fighting for it as well. Here is Binns. And Downey just about keeps it in. Here is Moritz, and excuse me, that was well, it was Moritz, excuse me, and the shot was missed anyway. Here is Hamza Kassim. Dagan. Dagan gets it back at the foul line and grazes the rim. Hamza Kassim with the rebound. And the shot no good, and the ball will go out of bounds. Here is Bond. Bond will slow it down. 1:07 remaining in this one. Bond can't get the two. Ben Hamel with the rebound. Hamza Kassim. Hamza Kassim, that's off, and it's rebounded again by Australia as Cooper Spillane gets it. Here is Moritz getting past Dagan, and Moritz can't get the finish. Barbie with the rebound. 65-34, 3:28 remaining in this one. And the ball is loose again, and an unsportsmanlike foul is called And that is on Ran Barbie. As the Australians looking set to finish on a high ahead of the quarterfinals. Here is Conroy. Conroy misses the 2. Yevnitsky. Yevnitsky inside to Boschner. Here is Conroy, and an offensive foul is called. And the Aussie fans can't believe it, even though they're up by 33. .249 remaining. As Taldegan gives it up to Yevnitsky. Degan has it back. Yevnitsky now receives it once again along the baseline, putting the moves on Bond. 8 to shoot for Israel. Boschner, Tuchfeld in support, shot clock at 3. And Yevnitsky misses the 2 from 10 feet. And now it's 2-on-1. And another foul is called. The Australian fans want an unsportsmanlike. And the foul called on Tal Degan. That'll be foul number 4 for him. And Zach Binns will check in. As Moritz and Bond come out. And a chance for Evander Conroy. What a great moment for him as the Aussie fans start to rise up onto their feet in anticipation. And he gets the first. Listen to the roar from the Aussie fans. What a great moment for Evander Conroy. Makes the first, misses the second, but what a moment for the 14-year-old Evander Conroy, who goes up and just about falls out. That would have been his first field goal in these World Championships, but he'll have to settle for a single point, the young man. He's frustrated with himself, but what a moment for Evander Conroy, 14 years of age, youngest player in this Australian side, youngest player in this game, with his first score of the game. 2:08 remaining. And Conroy picks up the loose ball, and a foul has been called. And Evander Conroy will go back to the line. Israel are in the penalty. Australia looking to settle for third spot in this group. They've already beaten Brazil. They have the head-to-head. And Evander Conroy stepped out of over the line, so that won't count. Israel will have the ball. 1:56 remaining in this contest. Boschner. Israel will finish on 0-5 in Group A. As the shot agonizingly falls out. And away come Australia with around 90 seconds to play. Spillane will slow it down. Here is Binns, who's had his performance of the World Championships. Kane Downey will be methodical about it. And Binns was going to let it rip. Spillane has it. 4 to shoot. They're queuing up here. Binns a 2, and that grazes the rim. Natan Boschner the rebound. Here is Tuchfeld. Dagun, Yevnitsky. Dagun airballs the 3. Now we'll wind down the final seconds. Australia will get the win. If Brazil win and Canada win, there'll be a 3-way tie between Turkey, Brazil and Australia. So we'll find out the placements in just a moment as Evander Conroy, first field goal in an Australian jersey for the young man. And the teenager with a smile on his face. What a moment for the 14-year-old. Yevnitsky, as we wind down the final 20 seconds of this game. Yevnitsky, and he won't get it. Kane Downing rebounds, and Australia in the final seconds will continue to push, or no, they won't. They will slow it down. And Duncan will give it to Downey, and that'll do it. Australia come away with a 70-34 victory. And a great moment for the 14-year-old Evander Conroy, who is being congratulated by his teammates. But a solid day's work for Australia, as they will finish 3-2 in Group A and will await their fate at the end of the group phase. But a potential game against either Great Britain or Italy, or maybe even the United States, awaits the Aussie spinners. As for Israel, they finish without a win in the group. They'll head to the classification rounds. But a great win for Australia. They win 70-34. I've been John Hobbs. Have a fantastic evening, day, afternoon, wherever you are across the world. And to those of you in Australia, get some sleep. Goodbye for now.